You know that feeling when a game is announced and it looks awesome? You grow overwhelmingly excited and wonder what incredible experiences that game will provide. But then the game just disappears. Months go by with no new update and you begin to grow anxious. Maybe the game was cancelled. Was the game delayed? Or maybe that anxiety was driven by a feeling of anticipation is relevant in game design in many different ways. In one, it's a marketing tool. In another, it's a fundamental aspect of narrative design. These two uses of anticipation, however, have remarkable similarities, and by understanding these, we can use the feelings we understand from video game marketing in order to make better games as designers. Naturally, anticipation and suspense are functionally quite similar. Narrative design tends to follow a three-act structure, the first act to introduce the conflict, the second to build anticipation to a climax, and the third where the climax is met and resolved. Typically, that second act is the longest act of the story, meaning that most of the story is built in suspense. Take a movie such as The Matrix, for example. The first act centers around Neo as he's drawn into a mystery surrounding his own reality. Then he meets Morpheus, hears that he may be the one who can save the world from the Matrix, which introduces the anticipatory stage of the story, with the audience wondering, alongside Neo, if he is indeed the chosen one. This suspense is strengthened as Morpheus is captured. Now, along with the first objective of questioning Neo's identity, the party must also save Morpheus. So, in the second act of The Matrix, we follow the party which Neo has now joined as they attempt to save Morpheus, but in that plan, they run into Agent Smith, a powerful being that upholds the Matrix. So the final act of the film is an action-heavy rescue of Morpheus while escaping from Agent Smith, and in that, Neo discovers he is the chosen one, and he is then able to stop Agent Smith and save Morpheus. The final act of The Matrix is so exciting and satisfying because of the buildup of anticipation. The audience is left to wonder if Neo is the one who can save the world from the Matrix, while also wondering if they will be able to save Morpheus and escape. So in that final battle, when it seems like all hope is lost for Neo and Trinity, the audience has a reason to care. Their questions are being answered, and their suspense is relieved in a thrilling battle sequence. That is the basic of narrative design, a three-act structure that many iconic stories follow. However, that structure comes with its own challenges, as anticipation and relief is most effective with proper timing. If the timing is off, the viewer loses interest. If the climax comes too soon, the viewer isn't as excited as they could be, so the resolve is less interesting. If the climax comes too late, then the viewer has already lost interest, so the resolve cannot be as impactful. But this isn't limited exclusively to narratives. It's a feeling we can all relate to when we're excited for anything at all. For this example, let's discuss game releases. Whenever a game is revealed, there is going to be some response. Hopefully that response is positive, but sometimes that response is negative. Ideally, when a game is revealed, the consumer feels excited. As they await more information, their excitement only grows. In that growth, more information can be revealed to foster that excitement. This can be new trailers, information releases, music reveals, or just displays of art from the game. Then, as that anticipation reaches the maximum, there's a final burst of information. Then, shortly after that, the game releases for the public to enjoy. The more excited the public is, the better the game will do. Not even that, the excitement someone feels for a game at release may impact their perception of the game as a whole. If you were to visualize a graph of what I just described, you may be visualizing something like this. The anticipation grows, and then, at its peak, we have resolve. In this case, the resolve would be the game's release. However, the problem here is that the consumer needs time to reflect at the maximum of their excitement. If the transition from maximum excitement to resolve is instantaneous, it would be like whiplash. So I suggest a short period here in between maximum excitement and resolve, where that suspense for resolve does not grow, but just holds. All the information is available, but the consumer has time to recollect and process that before the resolve or release. We can see this philosophy in action as well. The release of Super Mario Odyssey, for instance, gave players an initial reveal trailer, beginning this phase of suspense for more information. Then there was another trailer at E3 2017, which fostered excitement for the game's release in a new way. Then, on October 6th, just a few weeks before the game's release, we received one final overview trailer. This ended the phase of building suspense, now allowing players to look back at that first trailer, remembering that excitement and suspense that built up to that point. Now the game they were anticipating for so long is just a few weeks away from release, and they have a whole trailer's worth of complete information to enjoy in that wait. Many games nowadays will have these overview or launch trailers just a few days away from release, as they succeed in maintaining excitement and preventing that excitement from diminishing. Similarly, if you have to wait too long before information on a game is released, your excitement begins to fade. Say you reveal a game at the Game Awards in 2017, but show nothing again until September 2021, and then show nothing for another 8 months after that. That's not effective marketing. With all that said, I will admit that I'm no marketing expert. I'm a game designer. So how does this philosophy translate into a game? Well, this translates in a few ways, both narrative design and moment-to-moment gameplay. In the 2018 game Greece, you bring color back into the world, but in order to do so, you must overcome several obstacles before finding the hand of a statue, which you stand on to trigger this cutscene. Notice how this cutscene doesn't immediately reveal the color that is entering the world. No, there's a rising action as control is taken away from the player and the protagonist floats above the hand. Then she curls up almost as if she's in pain. The suspense is being held. Then, after that, the color finally releases, relieving that previous suspense. This same structure is used in the chapter Blue to create my favorite game set piece in any game ever, which I discuss in this video over here. Then, of course, this philosophy happens in narrative design as well. In Breath of the Wild, as you explore the world and discover the memories and divine beasts, your excitement and suspense grows slowly as you get closer to fighting Calamity Ganon and saving Zelda. These short beats enhance that excitement. Then, when you reach the castle ready to fight, you should feel your maximum excitement. You're ready to fight, but you don't get to fight right away. You have to make the march up the mountain to reach Ganon. With epic music playing, guardians all around you, your suspense and excitement, which is built up throughout your journey, reaches its maximum and is sustained. You get to reflect. The music makes you feel like a hero. You have overcome so much to get here. You remember how weak you were at the start of your journey. Then you reach Ganon and the fight begins. While this fight is exciting, it's also a release of suspense. That fight you were anticipating is happening, and then it's over, and you feel accomplished. But this is so large scale. These things happen on small scales too. In Super Mario Odyssey, when you crash into the ruined kingdom, you feel suspense. You don't know what exactly is going to happen, but you know that something is going to happen, so you begin to get excited. You anticipate that release. But the surprise boss battle doesn't happen immediately. First, you must make this slow walk up to the battle area, still suspenseful over what will happen once you get there. By building anticipation, you build excitement, and by releasing that excitement at the right time, you create the most memorable experiences and stories. The player's anticipation is a tool for the designer to use to create something impactful. If you've played Mario Odyssey, you remember that ruined kingdom battle. If you've played Greece, you remember that set piece in the Blue chapter. That's because those moments grew your suspense, held your suspense, and released your suspense perfectly. But it's also important that the release is coherent with the story, especially if that release is a plot twist. A good plot twist should surprise the player, but it should still feel logical. It should still play by the rules. If the end of Avengers Endgame revealed that Iron Man was secretly a villainous spy for Thanos the entire time, that would certainly be surprising, but it also wouldn't make any sense. There was no reason to ever think that. That idea was not reflected in the story at all. That twist would be surprising, but would also not be good. That's why the reflective period is so important. If you are writing a plot twist and you have it planned and foreshadowed from the beginning, the audience will still need some time to realize how that twist plays into the story. A plot twist should be surprising, but it should also be something the viewer begins to consider before the reveal is made. Then, when that twist is revealed, the player is surprised but also feels smart and has time to accept it and understand it. The period of maintained suspense before the twist should give the player the time to reflect on the story while feeling unnerved, so they begin to piece together what is happening. So when the twist happens, they don't feel defeated, they feel surprised and engaged. So anticipation not only builds suspense, but if used correctly can hold suspense and make the viewer feel smart and engaged. Think about that feeling when a twist is revealed, and you get to proudly say, after all the suspense, "I knew it!" Even when the viewer knows what will happen, the player should still feel excited from that reveal. Still, it can't be too obvious. If a twist is too obvious, that means the anticipation didn't build properly. But when the stars do align and the anticipation leads to a great hold in suspense followed by a perfect release, that is when a story is most impactful.